Good morning, everyone. Well, this has got a few updates to tell you over the next few clips, but we'll start off with this one. TVNZ, fair go. I got a response from Grace Tong, who's from the Broadcasting Standards Authority. This is TVNZ's latest response to my response to their response. So it says, "Good morning, Mark. Please find attached TVNZ's response to your comments. We do not require any further comments from you at this stage, although you're going to be getting some. However, if you do have any final comments to make, please provide them to me by the 10th of May. I will be in touch when your complaint is scheduled to go before the authority. It is likely to be at the authority's June meeting, but I will confirm closer to the time. Kind regards, Grace." Okay, so that's what Grace sent me, and here is the attachment. Kia ora, Grace. Now this is, of course, like I say, TVNZ responding to Grace from the BSA. "Thank you for the further opportunity to respond to the points Mr. Keane has raised. 1. In regards to point 6 of the 3 March letter, unfortunately the reference to Mark Keane was a typo." Okay, so this is when they turn around and they lie and they say that they contacted Universal Imports and myself before the airing of the show. That's apparently a typo. A typo is when you misspell something or you put a wrong word in, but they did a complete sentence. That's not a fucking typo, that's a flat out lie, and I caught them out on it.
NZ notes that numerous attempts were made to contact Universal Imports, Mark Keane, me, and Andrew Peck for comment to be included in the items on the issue in the story as outlined under fairness in the TVNZ decision. That is a complete lie.
And that's their excuse for it. The sentence should have read, to contact Universal Imports John Murphy and Andrew Peck. Well, what does John Murphy have to do with Universal Imports? It's another lie. They did not contact John either. But they want to keep lying. They tried to contact Universal Imports. They got a hold of John from Universal Imports, who said more than he should have. And you can go back and look at the interview I've done with Andrew Peck for his side of the story. But yeah, in no way did they contact John either. Especially about the story. Why would they? John has nothing to do with it. Fortunately, we did advise in this comment that the contacts made were outlined in TVNZ's decision under fairness, and this clearly states the contacts were to Andrew Peck and John Murphy. No, it doesn't. You lie. We apologise for any confusion this has caused. In other words, we're sorry we lied. Because any contempt can be reset with an apology. So, to avoid their contemptuous behaviour, they're apologising. A response from Mr. Keane was not required for the programme as he was not featured or mentioned in it. Neither was John. So why are you lying again and saying you contacted John? 2. In regards to Mr. Keane's query about the Norfolk Pine reference, because they said it was a veiled threat.
You know, all of these things that they're quoting here, yes, I did say. Now they have a problem with free speech, do they?
Please note that Mr. Keane has published another video on his YouTube channel regarding TVNZ's response. Yes, that's right, TVNZ, because I'm big on accountability and transparency, and anything you guys send to a member of the public is going to get published. Anything that Broadcasting Standards Authority do, because they are also a public entity, will be published. If you guys don't like that, well then perhaps you shouldn't make shoddy fucking stories in the first place and try to mislead the general public. Perhaps. It's just a thought. In regards to TV, and of course they attached the link. I would just like to say here, thank you so much TVNZ for supporting my channel, watching my channel, giving me view counts, and clearly referring it to others. Like, share, subscribe. Good on you, TVNZ. Within that response, and in regards to his denial that his reference to the Norfolk Pine is a veiled threat, I'm not denying anything because I never said that. They are saying it's a veiled threat. Onus probandi, burden of proof, lies on the person making the claim. They're trying to say I made a veiled threat. No, I didn't. All I simply said is that there's not that many Norfolk pines in West Auckland and it shouldn't be too hard to find. That was before I knew where Sabon lived. I do now know, and I will say again, perhaps TVNZ might want to send another letter to the BSA. I did go around there. It's a brand new cul-de-sac. There are no bushes for photographs, for people to be hiding behind bushes photographing her.
There was the photographer trying to snap her in the street.
You know, I felt very vulnerable.
So it was all bullshit, just narrative. Okay? He goes into further detail about where Miss Kelly lives. Do I? At what point do I state any street reference, house number? You know? We all know she lives in the Massey area because that's what Fair Go says. That's where Universal is. She only lives 10 minutes away. This is all part of their program. So I think they've actually given more detail about her house than I have. In fact, they went and filmed her at her house.
I'm a freelance journalist.
Where is this information going?
And what looked like a news story about Siobhan sent to her phone. It's all linked to a West Auckland car dealer and a sale that went wrong. The news story sent to Siobhan was full of quotes.
You know, I felt very vulnerable.
So they're the ones that have posted pictures and videos of Sabon's house. I haven't. I haven't doxed out her information, and I'm not going to. But I am going to go around there and see if there's any validity to their claims that there were photographers hiding in bushes, which was absolute bullshit. Because there's no fucking bushes. And he states in the email of the 31st of March, he has perused that location. Is it against the law to drive along a public street? Is it? Because I'm sure you guys went and perused Universal Imports location, didn't you? You stood out their side there filming. When the really nice young salesman comes out to see if there's something he can do for you guys act like he's coming out to have a go at you. Again, drama, narrative, very fucking seldom is the truth. Number 3. The reporter says there was a response to Fairgo's email too. Yeah, that's a quote, that's what she says.
There was a response to Fairgo's email too.
Making it out that Universal Imports was emailing them. And she reads the email. The email, which is read, was sent in response to the reporter's email to both Universal Imports and John Murphy, as shown in the TVNZ response to the referral. Mr. Keen's numbering 23 to 27. The description of the email as being in response to Fairgo's email is accurate and fair. You didn't read the entire email. I did 2 weeks before you even aired your show.
Gilligan, I assume you are still feeling your way at Fairgo, dreaming, hoping that one day you will be offered the presenter's chair. If that is ever to be a possibility, then you need to engage your brain before asking silly questions which expose what a limited grasp you have of the issues. You must apply yourself and concentrate always. A case point. Read this question out loud to yourself and you will see what I mean, Gilligan. We note that John Murphy is also quoted in the article that was sent to Sabone's phone and may want to comment on how the article came about and whether that's seen as acceptable behaviour for Universal Imports. Is that one question? 2 questions? A question within a question? Who the hell knows? 1 question at a time. Easy. Try that from now on. Now, let's get a few things straight here. John Murphy was quoted in the story because when it comes to a used car and pain in the arse buyers with a complaint for every occasion, he is the authority. No one better. I am urging him to write as a thesis on this topic. John would have seen Saban coming a half mile up the street like stink on a politician and would have quickly engaged the Central Car Company's silence. Wannabe alert system which firstly identifies the threat and then initiates the safe bubble protocol system to ensure the threat is neutralized. Wannabe, by the way, stands for woman with attitude and no brains. So John is our man, and he should be yours too. Now, how did the article come about? How does anything come about? Great will, determination, spirit and a can-do attitude? Enough on that. We don't ask how your stories come about and then later come a cropper. Now, this last question, I've broken it down, and it's like you have I've broken it down and it's like you have translated it from Korean or something. How the article came about and whether it is acceptable behaviour from Universal Imports. However, by your tone, you'd think Universal Imports, aka Andrew Peck, a Kiwi hero and legend I might add, had just taken a dump on the 18th hole at Muriwai. I tell you what is unacceptable behaviour. It is the journalistic charade from Fair Go, who through sheer dopiness have been sucked in by a woman with a BA in belly aching. Gilligan, don't be sucked in. That presenter's chair is getting closer, and I'd hate for this rush to judgment to sink your life's aspirations. Fucking bravo. Not worthy, Steve.
So people were well aware of what the entire email said, that it was from Steve Cook to Gil Higgins. Get that in your head. No, it wasn't a response from John Murphy or Universal Imports, as they would like to make out.
Gilligan. It's quite a catchy name, actually. I assume you're still feeling your way at Fair Go, dreaming, hoping that one day you'll be offered the presenter's chair. If that is ever to be a possibility, then you need to engage your brain before asking silly questions which expose what a limited grasp you have of the issues.
This man is something else.
More derogatory comments about Siobhan, too, like stink on a politician, a woman with attitude and no brains.
There's no professionalism in there whatsoever. I'm just astounded that there is no point that he can say, look, we've made a mistake, it has been a bad deal for both of us, I've paid the money, let's just move on.
It was a response from Steve Cook to Gil Higgins. Perhaps they meant to say they tried contacting Steve Cook. Okay, but they didn't. It was just a freelance journalist. They didn't name him either. But it's okay for them to read out the email from him and make it out it was from Universal Imports. You're a lying sack of shit, TVNZ. If you have a problem with my exercising of my Bill of Rights, Section 14, which gives everyone the freedom and right to seek, receive and impart informations and opinions of any kind in any form. This is information and these are my opinions. So you, Brent McNulty and the rest of yous, can stick that right where the sun don't shine. The email the reporter read was sent from Universal Imports 1998 Limited to Central Car Company. No, it wasn't. The email shows the header that I read out. There may have been communication between Universal Imports and Central Car Company to Fair Go, but the email she read and made out was from Universal Imports was from Steve Cook. Nothing to do with Universal Imports, nothing to do with John Murphy. As a registered New Zealand company of which John Murphy is the director. What? Is there a problem with John directing a company now? Please let me know if the authority requires anything further on this complaint. Ngā mihi, Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. TVNZ. I mean, don't even put your last name next to that one, will you? Okay, so it looks like in June the Broadcasting Standards Authority is having their next meeting. I think they meet quarterly, so every 3 months. And yeah, So there we go, another pile of lies from TVNZ, none of which can be backed up with them supplying any evidence. And just to show you I'm not bullshitting, I'll even put in a clip from the previous video I made of me reading out the entire email. And then I'll put the clip of them. And you guys, because I really don't give a flying fuck what the BSA or anyone else says, they have no authority over me whatsoever. And I'll let you guys decide. Well, I'll put it back in the court of public fucking opinion, considering you guys and your taxes are all going to fund these pricks that won't tell you anything because of shareholders' sensitivities. And that's what's happened in previous emails to TVNZ when I've been asking how much are they spending, how much are the wages. They don't want to tell you, even though TVNZ is supposed to be funded by the public. Nah, they've got commercial interests and shareholders to worry about. Anyway guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to respond to Grace with the few points that I've just mentioned in this video. In fact, fuck it, I'll even send this link to this video once it's up with the email. In the email, I'm going to say please pass on my thanks for TVNZ for subscribing and liking and sharing, because clearly that's what they're doing. Thank you again for mentioning me, defaming me further, trying to say that I made veiled threats. No, I didn't. And yeah, I mean, I get credibility is what people live on, but you want to test my credibility? Everything I say is backed with facts and evidence. I'd like to see TVNZ do the same. Why doesn't TVNZ produce the full email from Steve Cook to Gil Higgins showing it is exactly what she read out? Well, sections of it, because it was selective reading. She didn't read the entire email like I have. Anyway guys, that's the BSA. John and the rest of them are wondering, you know, is it defamation, High Court next? I have to wait for the process. They just keep giving me more and more fucking evidence with their responses, which is brilliant. Thank you very much, TVNZ, you idiots. So yeah, my statement of claim is going to require some answers, and because I'm going through the court, perhaps this time you'll fucking answer me instead of ignoring Official Information Act requests. Perhaps we'll do it that way, and I'll get some answers out of you. Anyway guys, have much love, tears. Next clip. Yes, you guessed it. What do I have here? Yes, it's a speeding ticket. On the 15th of April, as I was entering an 80k area, a cop coming the other way decided to slap his lights on and do a U-E. Comes up, he tells me I've picked the wrong day for it. I said to him, what are you doing? I'm in an 80k area. He says, I've just clicked you at doing 81, then looks at his phone and says, oh no, sorry, 85. So how can he get 81 and 85 mixed up? And then, you know, I go to give him my driver's license, produce a driver's license for inspection. Didn't want it. Didn't even ask me any details correctly. I have the user manual for the speed detectors, so I'm going to be going through with that with him on the stand. So I'm more than happy to chew this cunt's time up for a day in court while I have a whole lot of fun playing the game. And people say, well, why are you jumping into their realm? Why are you just saying no contract, no, you know, not interested? I learn law by doing it myself so I can show others. I just don't hypothesize and say, oh, perhaps you should do this without knowing it'll work myself first. I also have my own set of tuning forks with my own Stalker Dual DSR. Perhaps I'll take that into court to show how the tuning forks work. I wonder, I mean, what's his name? What's his QID? Feel free to not email him on dlap15@police.govt.nz. That was the copper that issued the ticket and pulled me over. Arbitrarily interfered with my freedom of movement. Vehicle basically defines transportation of goods and services. Pretty sure there wasn't any goods and services in my vehicle at the time. It didn't have any passengers either. Just acting in a private capacity. So, I mean, there's lots of ways I'm going to approach this, but the main point is to simply enjoy myself. I'm going to show you guys basically my response to the New Zealand Police Enforcement Bureau, NZPIB, requesting a hearing, and under section 13.7b of the Full Disclosure of Criminal Disclosure Act 2008, it states that once you've requested a hearing, that shall be deemed as a not guilty plea, even though they're going to want me to show up at court for a first call and enter a plea. Love to enter a plea if I could be informed of the cause and nature of the proceedings, which I haven't been done so as yet. So yeah, I'm going to have fun, and the sheer fact of keeping this cunt in court for a day, where he's not outside somewhere else issuing more fucking tickets and gathering revenue, and they all have to earn their money, priceless. Because I really don't give a fuck. If I do nothing, the entire ticket will just go through, and I'll get fined, and then it'll just come out of the fucking wages, or come out of the benefit. You know, so if I ignore it, I still end up having to pay. So I might as well make them earn their fucking money. I might as well have some fun in court again. Gee, Selwyn Hayworth, I hope you're there. But shit, you might have got COVID and died. There's a fucking happy thought. So, yeah. Will my mate Selwyn be in Waitakere Court because that's the nearest courthouse? Will the little snappy Chihuahua court security officer still be there to niggle at me again because they haven't seen me for a couple of years? Or will it just be an AVL conference where it's all done through audio-video links? We don't know, but I'm going to have fun. Alright guys, so yeah, let the games begin. As far as BSA is concerned, after June, they'll be making their decision, and then I can move on to the next step, which will be High Court. Alright guys, just in case you guys are wondering, or you said the High Court. Now, I haven't gone to see John yet either. My health has been going up and down like a fucking seesaw for the last couple of weeks, so I haven't managed to go and see him. But yeah, hopefully it's coming right again. There's something to be said when you have quiescent colitis. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's they don't know whether it's genetic or something I'm eating or something that's triggering all of the bleeding. But yeah, it took them 9 months to come up with that diagnosis, and that was only after I harangued them and rung them to get some fucking service. So, you know, they don't want any pressure on the health system because the government's let the health system run into the fucking ground for so many years. Of course they don't want thousands of sick people. Even though it's the flu season, and out of a population of 4 million, according to Stats NZ, so this isn't misinformation, I've already put the video up, out of the 3,822,322 people, I think it was on the stats, when they quoted it, out of those people, about 1 million people get the flu each year, and about 1,000 people die of it, because it triggers other underlying health conditions. Does that sound familiar? Anyway, see you later guys. Enjoy your day. Keep cool till after school. Another video coming soon.